ahead and get started. What? Oh, Mike, am I in frame? No? Did you start yet?
Perfection.
Good? All right, well, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for coming to this edition of your all-staff meeting. So, a couple of updates for you. Trying to keep this a little bit more on the brief side. We know roughly around that 4:30, 4:45 mark. Hope to get you out. However, as always, if you have any questions at any time, raise your hand, shout it out. But first and foremost, thank you for coming today. Thank you for what you do each and every day for our residents. Of course, I'm Tyler. I'm your executive director. We'll have Jen talk a little bit about HR. We have our new director of community life, Stacy, who will do a brief introduction of herself. Majorca's going to give us just a few updates from an employee standpoint on our food and beverage program. And then Lindsay's actually going to be doing the COVID as well as the administrator update. So let's jump into it. But first, does anybody have any questions off the bat? All right. So, as we talk about every single all-staff meeting, we are talking about everybody's selves, right? We hit a huge milestone in the last 2 weeks, and if anybody had those cupcakes that LCS sent us, you know that we are 100% sold. Give yourselves a round of applause. Yes, I know that we're talking about independent living, and yes, that's Anna and Heidi and Cooper and Alyssa, but we all know that without each and every one of you, that goal is not possible at all. So thank you. Thank you for what you do to make an impact for why residents come to live here. Whether you're in the kitchen, cooking up something mean like Kathleen, or you're doing some housekeeping for the wonderful residents in the apartments, or you're taking care of them in the health center when they're at their most vulnerable. Thank you, and everybody in between. So again, from an entrance fee standpoint, we are at 14 sales in 6 months. Our budget for the year was 10, so we overachieved that as well. And again, that's because of the reputation you have created. Assisted living, we're down a little bit. That's a little strategic as we're going through some renovations that we'll talk about a little bit more. So roughly 27 on a budget of 32. The memory support neighborhood, I think we'll be back to our budget here shortly. I think we're at 14 today. 14 today in the CBRF, so just below budget. And then, again, give yourselves a round of applause for what we've been doing in the health center. I know a lot of you work there that are here today or impact that area. We have not had this high of a census in my 40 years here. So thank you for that. We're averaging 33.4. That's 3.5 above budget. And so just think about the number of individuals that you've touched and impacted day in and day out. For that, I say thank you. So again, as we know, occupancy is crucial. It's how we serve. It's why we do what we do, right? So again, we're doing an incredible job. Keep it up. Extraordinary impressions. Again, we want to focus on just one of these for each kind of quarter. And this quarter, we're going to talk about we make you feel important. I know each and every day, each of you makes a resident, maybe each other, feel important. The great Nelson Mandela's quote, if you want the cooperation of humans around you, you must make them feel they are important. And you do that by being genuine and humble. And so as you're walking through your days, as you're kind of taking care of the residents, as you're working alongside each other, take this one with you, all right? Make sure you know that residents, that's why they're here. It's because of those relationships that you have, that personalization that you make, that they feel important. All right, did anybody know that we're going through a renovation and expansion project? Yeah? Okay, great. I've at least communicated that much. Nailed it. All right, so right now you probably saw a big wall go up, right? Bradford Terrace, probably caught you by surprise all of a sudden. Well, that's a good thing. That means we're off the ground, hitting the ground running. Right now, for the next 4 months, they are going to be working on Bradford Terrace. Bradford Terrace, first and second floor right now, are currently going through a large demolition. All those rooms, walls, pretty much getting taken out. Third floor gets some remodel as well, and then fourth and fifth floor give minor touches as well. Again, the whole focus of this project is to get healthcare underneath one roof. For those of you, and Lena, I look at you and I see you run back and forth literally all the time, Carl, you too. It's going to be much more efficient to be in one building, right? Where you can just go up and down stairs instead of up 4 flights of stairs, over, across the campus and back. So that's the goal. But we're also adding 30 new entrance fee apartments where the water tower building is. Currently it's 52 apartments. The water tower building, along with the fitness center, gets a complete gut and renovation, right? And then of course the first floor common areas, including the dining room, gets a complete remodel, new furniture and fixtures. And we're adding a bar and bistro area as well. Lindsay Hall gets an update. We're adding a ramp for accessibility. So Lolita, you may not, well, you're gonna have to come back, all right? We're gonna have Lolita come back, and she's gonna take that ramp up, so she doesn't have to take the half floor elevator up. So again, just trying to make your jobs more effective, more efficient, right? But again, as I said, construction started. The first 4 months are all focused at Bradford Terrace. Again, right now that entrance should always be open. There may be some times where the entrance is closed just temporarily. We will do our best to make sure you're communicated with at least 72 hours in advance, okay? So what can you expect? Communication. Does anybody see that red board in the employee hallway? Anybody seen that one before? Yeah, everybody's hand should be raised because you punch that time clock, right? It's on your left-hand side, you walk down, it's a big red board, right? It says construction updates. That's what the construction updates are going to be, okay? So keep an eye out for those. But most importantly, if you have questions, ask them. I'm available. When you see me walking around, if you're like, hey Tyler, this doesn't make sense, let me know. I'll be happy to explain it to you and we'll walk through it together. You still will be impacting this project, all right? Again, the goal, to be even more beautiful than we already are 14 months later. That's the total construction timeline. Safety. Gotta talk about safety too. Safety is our priority. Safety is my priority for you. You should always have a safe work environment so that when you come to work, you can leave work in the same shape and manner, right? We're gonna talk a little bit about construction safety since it's very relevant. How many of you have been a part of a construction project or home renovation? How many of you have tripped over a piece of lumber because you weren't looking where you were going, it was not supposed to be there? I have. Remember that. So again, the construction areas are secure, they are locked off. C.G. Schmidt has an impeccable safety record. We want to be a part of that, but it's construction. If you see something that's out of place, say something. Let Lila know at the front desk. She can phone it in. If there's a trip hazard and you can fix it, fix it. If it's a trip hazard and you can't fix it, but you can put one of those wet floor signs over it so you become aware, please do that. It takes all of us. But again, please do not go into the construction areas. They are locked down for a reason, and we don't want you going in there. So again, please don't rush around the areas. I know that if we're coming in a little late, I get it. We're trying to run, make sure we punch the time clock, get up to our areas. The last thing I want to do is be rushing, trip because we were rushing too quick and now we're not able to do anything on our shift, right? So again, please be aware of your surroundings. Questions on that? All right, that's what I have for you right now. Any other questions? All right, so I'll turn it over to Jen.
All right, thank you, Tyler. So I always like to start off with our new hires. We're kind of changing it up a little bit. So raise your hand if you have never been to an all-staff meeting before. Raise them high. Come on. Awesome. So like you see on the board, these are all of our new hires starting from January 1st through April 7th. That's a lot of new hires. So once again, like we always say, please make sure you're making everyone feel welcome and a part of the team. If you don't recognize someone, take that time, say hi, introduce yourselves, please. HR updates. So we have started a new onboarding experience again. We're always trying to elevate ourselves. We've created some new orientation checklists for our new hires to make sure that all of our new hires are getting properly trained. And with that, also we have also rolled out our new Train the Trainer program, where we sat down with every single team trainer, went through expectations. So we're doing everything possible to try to mitigate an employee leaving for those types of reasons. We have our employee referral program, $750 for a full-time employee or $500 for a part-time. Does not include PRN. But please make sure that if you are doing a referral, make sure your name is on that applicant's application. So that's how we know in HR. We have our Employee Assistance Program, or EAP. It's up on the blue board next to the red board, so going down the same hallway. EAP information's up there. It has the phone number, it has the website. Anyone know what you might use an EAP hotline for?
Counseling.
Counseling, thank you. What else?
Travel assistance.
Travel assistance. Miss Lydia?
Any type of resources like tax help.
Look at that. So tax help, any sort of money, financial, everything, it's all there for you. So please make sure that you take the time to do some basic research and see what's available that's free at your fingertips. We have our Let's Be Awesome community, so we're always looking still for new attendees. Since our last time, we've now brought on 3 new individuals, which is always exciting, but would love to see more of a whole compass involvement to make sure that we're hitting every single work center and making sure that we're rolling out events that work for you guys and the time slots that best work for you. So if you ever want to be a part of that, please let us know. We'll make sure that you guys come to those meetings. The last week in April, we did a Spirit Week last April, and we're rolling it out again this year. So really looking for some great participation and some new employees to participate that maybe don't always participate in those events. And then last, COVID booster cards. Do we still get 4 hours of free pay if you get a booster shot? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes, we do. So the only way that I can give you the extra 4 hours though is you have to bring that booster card into me, that COVID vaccination card. Once I get that COVID vaccination card, then I can send that on over to accounting. Without that, we cannot process those extra 4 hours, okay? And then extraordinary rewards. So when everyone walked in today, what did you guys all get? You got 10 points just for coming to the all-staff meeting. If you are watching this on Relias, you did not get 10 points because you did not come in person. So we always like to have that in-person engagement as much as possible. Raise your hand if you have logged in to Extraordinary Rewards. All right. So I looked at the numbers today. We don't have full participation doing that yet. So let me take a quick 2-minute blurb. Extraordinary Rewards, it is our new robust, very large recognition program. So instead of just, hey Lolita, you did a great job today, we're still doing that, but I'm also giving Lolita points and then she can save over time and then redeem for prizes. Because maybe that free lunch, Lolita's like, I don't want a free lunch, I like bringing what I have from home that we used to have before. Now you get to go and purchase an item that best suits you as an individual. So we're really excited for this program. If you have not logged in yet, this email, your welcome email, went to your spam email. Where did that go again? Spam. So please make sure you're checking your spam email if you don't have an East Castle Place login. And that's how you get that. As soon as you log in, you already get 20 points for logging in that first time. And this is how you can see employee-to-employee nominations, director-to-employee nominations, birthdays, anniversary milestones. You get points for all of that. And then there's a great news feed that you can see all these different things coming in. And this week has been a big week for nominations already. So really looking forward to seeing how much further we can take this program for everyone. And that is it for me for HR. Do you guys have any questions for me? All right. Miss Stacy, you are up next.
Thank you, Jen.
You're welcome.
All right. Let's see, am I going to go the right way? No, there we go. All right, who am I? I grew up in Milwaukee area, graduated high school, went to UWM, then I headed down to North Carolina for a fellowship in recreational therapy. So my background is in recreational therapy. Have done over, let's see, I've been a recreational therapist for 16 years, going on 17, I should be. But I have over 20 years of experience with programming. I started as a lifeguard, working in adaptive swim. Also worked for the MPS schools in adaptive sports. So guess what? I love sports, I love fitness, I love being outdoors, and that will show through some of my pictures here. I'm also very family oriented, as you can see. My brother and my sister-in-law and my family. So I have a niece and nephew. My mom, where is she? Some of you guys have met her already. Up in the corner, we did the paint and sip. She came along. And then my Papa Jim holding my son. And I have a son who is almost 4. He'll be 4. So just a little roundabout of me, as well as, let's see, did I forget anything? But I like to be outdoors. So I'm really excited to be here and engage with the community. I know that Staff engagement is a big part of it, so please stop by, introduce yourself, because there's a lot of faces here that I have not met. Several that I work alongside with, so I'm happy to be here. Tyler has welcomed me, has supported me, so I'm really excited to be here. If you have any questions, let me know. I'll answer them. All right. Well, thank you, and we'll keep moving on.
Hello, so I have just some very brief updates for hospitality. So starting May 2nd, you guys will see a change to the prices for the employee lunches. As we all know, raw food cost is continuing to increase, so we need to increase some of our pricing as well. Lunch orders will still be pretty affordable. You can still eat lunch here, probably cheaper than you can go to McDonald's, but we do just need to make a small price increase. After the all staffs this week, I will send out an all user email as well as put a copy of the menu at the front desk just so you guys can take a look at it. Then just a couple other reminders. It's very important that we get lunch orders by 11 o'clock and 3 o'clock so we can prepare them correctly in the kitchen. And then once they are prepared, we'll put them in the bistro. So lunch orders will be in the bistro at noon and dinner orders will be in the bistro at 6 p.m. The only other thing I have is for those of you who are here for first shift, just a reminder that the items in the bistro are for the residents. Coffee and water is available to all of the East Castle employees, but the continental items are really for the residents. So please don't take any of those items. Bring your own breakfast from home. If you need to grab a fork or a knife or something like that, go ahead. But we would really like to see employees stop coming in and get breakfast right when they first got here. And then just the last thing I have is, just as a reminder, we don't see it so much in the evening, but the bistro is really not the employee break room. If we do put your lunch or dinner in there, grab it, head on down to here or your own break areas and eat it in that. Just kind of leave the bistro for the residents. And that is all I have.
All right. Good afternoon. How we doing? Let's get some energy in here. We're on camera. Goodness. Make them all jealous that they're not here. Jeez Louise. Okay, so from a COVID update, first things first, thank you again for wearing your mask, keeping things positive, as much as this seems like it's dragging on, which it is, and it probably will for years to come, and we just have to adapt to what our new norm is, but thank you for making it a priority to hold yourself accountable as well as your peers on testing, PPE, and the really relentless changes that happen. It's like we need to keep our head on a swivel. 1 minute we're in face shields, the next minute we're not. 1 minute we're back in face shields, which we'll get to that. So anyways, communication is key, as we all know, to keeping all of us safe, your family safe, the residents safe. And then, as always, thank you for coming to these to get the most up-to-date information. Please read the staff updates that are on the blue bulletin board.
You got it.
Right next to the red one. So that is where all the updated protocols would be. So we will be back in face shields and eye protection if you work in the health center, CBRF, or water tower. Why? Because we are back in substantial to high transmission rate. So that being said, it's not just the positivity rate and how many people are testing positive. They get the transmission rate based on how many people are actually just getting tested. So people go get tested, you're going to Mexico next week, it comes back negative, you get included in that number. So that's why it gets skewed, that's why we're still in the high. Positivity rate's low, but people are still going to get tested. So with that, it is going up. Obviously, I know there's different variants, mutating and so on, but based on the state regulations and the CDC, we are required to wear eye protection until we're in moderate. So Washington County and Marquette County are inspiring us. So then last but not least, testing twice a week. If you do not have your booster or you are not vaccinated, you need to be tested twice a week. Because the new language now is, it used to be you were fully vaccinated with your first and second dose. Now it's up to date. So I'm up to date because I've had my first, my second, and my booster. So if you've only had your first and second and not your booster, you are no longer up to date. And you are required to be tested every Monday and Friday at the water tower entrance. So please do that. If you have had COVID in the past 90 days, you are not eligible to be tested or get your booster. So please be aware of that, and please just go get your booster. Let's just put this testing to rest for right now. There's a lot of benefits to it. Protecting, obviously, the vulnerable population we work with, your peers. We don't know everyone's health history. Testing schedules can go away. That would make me really, really happy. But it's not about me. Summer events, a lot of things you can go to being fully vaccinated, and free money on the table. Hey, we love that. So,
How many months is it though in between?
In between, great question, Jen. So if you had your second dose, you need to wait 5 months before you can get your booster. Any questions on that?
Lindsay, if I only have my first dose, do I have to be tested?
Your first dose of what?
Of the
Like your first
vaccination,
round?
my first round.
Yes, you do.
Another question, Lindsay.
Yes.
I have my first and my second dose and I'm not eligible yet for my booster. Do I have to go to testing?
Yes, you do. Yep, because you're still not up to date at that rate if you're past 90 days of your second dose. When in doubt, just get tested. I know, that's why we say thank you for keeping up with the changes. Okay, anyways, Relias. So this is another expectation that you are all required to do monthly. I know that it's a pain and it's tedious, but you also get paid for it too. So that's a big bonus. And then, as we've discussed in the past, you will not get your merit increase until you are 100% up to date with your Relias. So if my review was today, and I have 2 months worth of Relias to do, and it takes me another 3 weeks, and I get it done in whatever 3 weeks, then that's when my merit increase will start. It will not prorate back to my data hire. So once again, you're missing out on free money at the end of the day. So CNAs and nurses are required by the state to get this done. 12 to 15 hours, and it needs to be done prior to your anniversary rate. So unfortunately, you will be removed from the schedule if you are not current, due to the fact that it's a state regulation. When the state comes in, they'll pull your file. If they don't see you've been educated, your license is not current. So, all right, and on that note, with the state survey prep, 'tis the season. We're here. So we had our mock survey 2 weeks ago from LCS. Just some key points: hand washing and glove use. That's a big one. I know we really hit home hand washing in the past 2 years specific to COVID, but hand washing every time, or hand sanitizer every time you change a glove. Being cognizant of what you're doing if you're serving food in the kitchenette, touching a ladle and then grabbing the microwave and then grabbing a plate. You need to change your gloves in between that transaction. So being cognizant of that. I won't go into the specifics of each of your department because we'll be here a while, but talk to your supervisor if you have questions. Eye protection and COVID testing 2 times a week. We talked about that. Purposeful rounding. Spring cleaning in the halls. Don't walk over a piece of paper and wait for housekeeping to pick it up, or a wrapper, or something minute that would just be stepped over consistently. And then, shutting shower doors, moving wheelchairs out of the middle of the hallway, things like that just make it more welcoming, especially with more families visiting, people are traveling again, and so on. And then customer service with all interactions. We all have fun here, most days. Treat each other with respect, our residents with respect, be positive. If you're having a bad day, take a lap around the block. You could all use the fresh air. And then last but not least, the abuse policies. Everyone up to date on that? Who do you report abuse to? Okay, that's better than yesterday's response. You report it to your supervisor, me, Tyler if I'm not here.
Or even if you are, have Lindsay and I'll collab.
Yeah, we will collab. When in doubt, you call your supervisor, myself, Tyler. So, because that will be asked, the surveyor is going to come up to you and go, Mary, who do you report abuse to?
My supervisor.
That's exactly right.
And you or Tyler?
Stunning. All right, last but not least, this is where the good times keep rolling. All right, so we're progressing with COVID. Obviously, things are turning for the better. You know, I know sometimes it doesn't feel like it, but the goal is ultimately for us to get rid of masks. That being said, when will that be for the entire community? We're not sure, but at least for right now, the CDC and LCS have provided guidance that we are able to be mask-free in independent living areas. So, and this will start Friday. So what does that mean for you? Starting Friday, if you work in an independent living area, so if you work in maintenance, you know, in the maintenance back area that's in the independent living building, that's fine. If you are an independent living server, you don't need to wear a mask. Unfortunately, us in healthcare, we know they're not going away yet. So if you work in the health center, CVRF, or water tower areas, you are still required to be fully masked. And that doesn't mean you need to be a CNA or a nurse. That's everyone. That's me. That's you, Rob. You know, that's staff in the kitchen. Everyone who just, if you come up to water tower 3, 4, or 5, you need to be in a mask. And if we are required to be wearing face shields, you need to have that as well. So, and that being said, you know, if a resident in independent living, you show up without a mask because, you know, Mary's delivering a meal and they say, can you put your mask on? The expectation is you have one on you, that you can put it on. And at the end of the day, if you want to keep wearing your mask, by all means, no one's telling you otherwise. This is just our step. And with the resident council at East Castle and Independent Living's approval and recommendation for us to take this step forward. And just on a last note, this is subject to change, as with all of COVID. I mean, if Milwaukee puts a mask mandate back in place, we're all back in masks. So, any questions on that? Yes?
Is there any openings in the independent living?
See, no. Because think about it, we can all leave here and take our mask off, you know? I mean, I went to the grocery store 2 days ago and I didn't wear a mask. So, a lot of people are doing it.
Oh.
I know, don't tell them. I mean to. Oops. No, and you know, at the end of the day, if someone says, I'm not going there because I don't want to wear a mask, that's a bigger problem. They're going to end up in Jen's office, and it will be addressed, probably in corrective action form. So, this is a privilege that can be taken away, let's just say that. Any other questions on that?
Lindsay,
Yes.
so can the residents have guests even in the dining room?
Yes, they can.
They just started back?
Yes.
Can you see that question for the camera?
Yes. You people at home. Just kidding. Residents can have guests in the dining room starting today. So they're doing it in independent living if people need to have visitors in Water Tower 3, 4, or 5. You know, talk to, obviously, Matriarca if they need a meal as well. And visitors are still required to wear masks. So, yes. And the front desk does have masks available. Any other questions? No? Last but not least, thank you for all you do. 2021 strong, which we did. And this is Tyler's power.
So this is 2022. Thank you for everything that you're doing.
Really?
You just took over your spot.
Yeah. No, thank you for everything you're doing. Really, really appreciate you guys. And again, keep up the incredible work. You make an incredible impact on the residents each and every day, and hopefully on each other. So with that, is there any questions? Okay, to the time frame. Thanks everybody. Have a good rest of your day.
Tomorrow's the Casper Day.
Castle Day.